Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 21 and Sensory podcast. On today's episode, I have special guest Glenn Miller. Glenn is the manager of Waltham Abbey Focus, who are a special needs football team based in Waltham Abbey in the UK. So, Glenn, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hello, everybody. My name's Glenn. I'm the manager. I'm 23 years old. I took over when I was 21, and yeah.
Cool, good intro. So you're really young. I didn't realise how young you were.
Yeah, I'm pretty young. Yeah, I sort of got dropped in the deep end when I was younger. To be honest, it was sort of if I didn't take over, then it wouldn't be. We'd have no one else to sort of do it. So and obviously, I was there from 13 years old. So that I'm like the old man there. So.
So were you a player before you kind of moved up to like roles within the team?
Yeah. So what happened was I used to go to a club called Chips Club, special needs club, and I was getting too old to go there. And they recommended to go to a youth club. And obviously I looked around there with my friend and I saw the football court straight away. I was like, yep, this is for me. And then I started playing there and it was chaos because everyone was running around and it was crazy. And a guy called Mike took over as manager and he sort of put us into gear. He told us what's what. And then, yeah, I was captain for a few years. Then I moved to Cheshunt Football Club, the disability team. But then I was still at Focus at part-time. So I still went to training and all that. Yeah, and then years down the line, the coach was like, I'm getting moved up to the main guy, the main person at the youth centre. And he was like, do you want to take over? And I remember standing there, I was like, oh God, I'm like the worst person to ask. And then I was like, I'll think about it. And I thought about it for a minute. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to do it. It's something new. And it's a challenge that, you know, I felt like I could fulfill. Mm-hmm. So I took it on. And yeah, and then it just started going on from there, really.
Okay.
Wow. I was 21 at the time.
Mm-hmm. So it was really kind of dropped on you as a kind of, do you want to do this?
Yeah, basically it was dropped on me. Like, do you want to do it? I was like, yeah, go on then. It was nerve-wracking. And, you know, if you would have saw the old kits, the fabric was probably thicker than my sofa. So in the summer, it was crazy.
Nice. Old-fashioned football kits.
Yeah.
Nice. Is it like a part-time role or a full-time role? Like how involved is it?
When I first started, it was like a part-time thing. But then, like, they didn't think I would take it on like, they thought I was doing training sessions. But I wanted to get a team together. And I was like, right, I want to start, you know, getting the team disability football out there. I want to start winning trophies. And we ended up having a tournament 2 weeks later and we won it. So we didn't lose a game. So I brought the right players in at the right time, really. So yeah, now it's full time basically. I don't get paid for it. I do it for free. But yeah, it's basically full time now. Especially now we're affiliated to a football club. So yeah, I'm always doing different things. I do everything as well. So it's pretty mad.
I can imagine, like, as a manager, I guess it's not all, you know, being out at training or out on a pitch. Is there like a lot of admin to do as well?
Yeah. You got to sort out the fixtures, you have to sort out the invoices, you have to sort out, you know, the attendance, you have to have meetings, you know, if there's any issues, they usually come straight to me. So I have to deal with it. It's pretty mad.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's like running your own business. It's
a lot. It sort of is. Yeah, it's crazy because I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I go straight to the emails because usually there's always an email or two on there for me. So, or I get a message and stuff like that. So we have days where it's quite there's nothing really, but then I sort of make myself busy and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, for example, like now we're in July, we're going to Southampton to go national, and I'm taking the second team this time, not the first team, because the second team, I want them to have an opportunity to have the feeling what it's like to play at a high level. So, and you know, I feel as like we've got the players to do it. So now it's all, we've got to sort that out now. That's like the the new thing I'm sorting out at the moment, as well as the documentary and the promotion side of it as well.
Mm-hmm. And so, just to be clear, so how many teams are there in the like kind of focus side of things? Is it
there's 3, and I made the 3rd team about a couple months ago. It was a sort of thinking about it. Would it work? Wouldn't it work? You have to think of the positives and the negatives of side of it as well. But it's at the moment it's all been positives, and none of the negatives have been happened yet. So I got 3. So I got a first team, which is like the main team that play Premiership disability level. I have a second team that are currently playing Premiership level, but they'll be going down to Championship. And then I have a third team that is like Special Olympics. So, which is like the third, like lower level.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've got different levels going on. And what's the age group, like the age range as well?
The youngest player I've got is 17. Mm-hmm. And the oldest I've got is, I'll say about 26, 27. So it varies, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. It's good that you've got like a kind of range. And are they all male as well? It's just a male football team?
Yeah, it's all male. Mm-hmm. It's all male.
It's great that you're like giving like the second team an opportunity as well, and you're not just, always taking the first team to things, because I feel like for me at school, that was the sort of thing that I used to like run into a lot with like being on like a school football team is, you wouldn't always like get picked, or like you wouldn't get the same opportunities as the first team. So it's nice to hear that you're like giving everyone a chance.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting to hear. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the documentary in a second. But I thought maybe if we go back a little bit and just maybe like discuss the diagnosis that you have, and when maybe you kind of realised that you were autistic.
Yeah, so basically when I was younger, like young, my mum would have the Hoover on, and usually the natural thing is to turn around or thing. But mum could Hoover right behind me, and I'd still be like, I wouldn't even notice it. And there was certain little things that my mum noticed about me. I think I was in reception year 1 when I got diagnosed, but obviously that was, I don't remember because I was that young really, but you sort of notice things as you grow up. I used to say what I think as well. So if something caught my eye, like it's gonna sound funny, but like my nan's neighbour have got like feet like trotters and like pig trotters, and when I was younger I used to look at them. My mum knew I was about to say something, and then I'd be like, what's wrong with your feet and something like that, or there'll be like someone would dress like something, I'd be like, oh, why are you dressed like that? And I'd just say it how it is. Like I'm not like that anymore, luckily. So
And so did your mum sort of pick up on these things like kind of as you were growing sort of older?
Yeah. And obviously I struggled with my work like badly. And I was just falling behind in mainstream. And then when I hit secondary school, I went to a special needs school called Pinewood. So and then I didn't get in at first because my disability was not bad enough. But then I got in the end. And I sort of shone there really. And then I went back into mainstream after.
Okay. And did you find like going back to mainstream after a special school, like was that quite like a difficult thing to do?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I get anxiety quite badly, so it was scary. It was, but then I sort of knew that I wanna live a life where I can do it. Like I know I've got the potential. All my teachers told me in school that I had the potential to do it, and my behavior said different at the time. So and my attitude, but yeah, it was it was mad. I knew I'd be all right, and I was all right. I was all right in college. I had no problems. I made loads of friends because I'm quite social, to be honest with you. I'm not one of them people that sit back and quiet. I am now, but back in the day I was quite confident. I would happily stand there and talk to like 10 people. Mm-hmm. I'm not forward, but I'm not scared, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. And Like, did you kind of go to like a sixth form or a college at all?
Yeah, I went to Cape Manor to learn horticulture because it's a funny story because when I was in detention, I used to do they used to make me do gardening, so I didn't like it, and then I ended up liking it like towards the end of my time at school. So I ended up wanting to do it as a trade. So I ended up going to Cape Manor and doing horticulture. But I had to start off in an access class, so which is probably the best year because I met some amazing people and I'm still friends with them now.
Oh, cool. I love that something that was kind of meant as like a punishment turned into a passion for you.
Yeah, it was running as well. I was like I won East of England competition cross country as well. So and basically when I was naughty, instead of sitting there in a room, I'd have to run. And it sounds cruel, but they knew that I had something about me when it came to running. Like when I was in year seven, I came like 30th out of like 1,000 people, and then I finished sixth in year eight, and then I came third 2 years in a row, and in year 11 I won it. So
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so I had that potential, and the only way to get me to do it was where I had no choice. So
Mhm.
and obviously when we used to have like inter-house things, I used to win every year as well. So yeah. Nowadays I play and run around the pitch now. So but back in the day it was I was really good at running. My friends used to call me an engine. And but yeah, same as football really. I was school captain. When I was naughty, I wasn't allowed to go to tournaments as well. So that used to be like another way around it. But there was certain teachers at my school that helped me a lot growing up. So and mature up as well because I've matured up much more now than I was. If you spoke to me 4 years ago, you probably would have been like, "Yeah, this podcast done. He's getting on my nerves."
Oh. But I think like that's part of it, isn't it? Like growing up, you kind of realize when you look back at yourself, you're like, oh, I can't believe I used to be like that, or like, how did people, how did I come across and stuff? Like, I'm definitely.
Yeah, and I'm surprised I had friends, to be honest, especially the way I used to like talk to people and the way I acted. It was like I used to think I was hard when in reality a fly could beat me up. So it was one of them ones.
Was football kind of a passion? Like, when did you start? Did you say that was like age 13-ish, you said?
When I was in year six, I'll be honest with you, I was terrible. I couldn't kick a ball. The one thing that pushed me and motivated me the most was my last day of year six when um they let me go past them all and score. And they would let me go past and I was still losing the ball. And then I got to the goal and missed. And then that 6 weeks holiday, I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it really, really got to me that I missed. And I was like, that's embarrassing. Like, that was I couldn't get into a school team and stuff like that. And then when I got to Pinewood and I trained so hard that in year seven I got straight into the team. Like I motivated myself and I pushed myself to my hardest to be as good as I can.
Mhm.
So yeah, I ended up getting to the school team at year seven, and I ended up like captain as well, my school team, stuff like that. So yeah, football is a big motivation. When you're at school, that's the one thing you think about. When it's break time and lunchtime, you're like, yeah, time to sort the teams out.
Mhm.
Most likely it'll be unfair because when you're the good player and there, you get to pick the teams and you get to have the good ones on your team and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, that was basically it really. But football's always been a passion, and I've there's not a time where I don't think about it. So
Mhm. Oh, that's great. It's amazing to hear like how much like time and effort you've put into it. Like you'd overthought that kind of situation and it kind of cycled through your head a lot. And that over the summer you're like, right, I am going
yeah,
to be good at this.
it was embarrassing. I'll be honest with you, it was embarrassing. Like the fact they even like obviously it was a nice gesture. Don't get me wrong, but it was embarrassing that they let me go past everyone and score. And the fact I didn't even score, that was even more embarrassing. It put me in a mood, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
It was like, yeah, like it motivated me because it was like I don't want to be the guy that go, oh, you know what, allow him. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. I didn't want to be that guy. So
It's interesting to hear the like process you got to, and then to kind of see it from the other side of being the captain and like in
yeah,
charge of people. I always find it really like fascinating to hear how people have come along and like found their passions and found what they're really good at. I don't know if it's just like a kind of neurodiverse thing, but I feel like we kind of get very excited about our special interests or like passions and really latch onto them a bit. So it's always find it really fun to hear.
Yeah, like Cheshunt was a big one for me as well, because obviously I left there not on great terms, but you know, because obviously I left as a manager, and obviously players went to come play for me because obviously not just my players and my friends as well. And obviously the season before that I was captain and we didn't lose a game all season, and we were playing like big. I played at Stamford Bridge in the actual pitch as well, and I scored in the semis. No, it's quarterfinals round against Bournemouth. I went around the goalkeeper and just stuff like that. So Cheshunt was like a big impact. But my last proper season there wasn't great because I sort of knew it was my last season there, and they knew it, and they were trying to persuade me to stay and stuff like that. But my stubborn. I was being stubborn. I was like, yeah, I want to go and fulfill something else. You know, you can only do so many years somewhere, and especially playing wise, and it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, I've had enough now. So I'd rather just go on and do something different and, you know, try something new. If it don't work, then you know, it don't work. If it works, then it works. And luckily it did work. So
that's difficult, isn't it? When you kind of have that sort of like jump up, or like I used to play football when I was younger, and I hated when it went from kind of, you know, the like under 13s, under 15s, under 16s, under
yeah,
16s, and then it like jumped to like ladies football, and I was so scared. And I remember being in this ladies football team, and all these ladies were like, I don't know, they were just so much taller and so much faster and so much more like skilled, and I still felt like I needed to be in like the under 16s, and like it's a really
yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Mm.
No, I know what you're saying
Yeah.
completely.
Like obviously I didn't realize I was autistic at that time because I'm late diagnosed, but I think if I'd known, then like a disability football team would have been like ideal, because like you say, there's kind of a sort of mix of age groups, and you know, different teams to suit different people, and that would have been so much better than me freaking out and worrying, you know, that I'm playing against all these like older women.
Yeah, disability football is so unknown, and that's like one of the reasons why I want to do the documentary, really, because you know there's people sitting at home and trying to play, do their thing, do what they love, and they can't find a team. Like people said it in talking to the producers and they were like, well, we didn't know about disability football teams until like later on, and to me that's wrong. People should know, like, disability football is important, and I'm gonna try my hardest to make sure that people know that. And there's I could name loads of teams around people's areas that they didn't know about. Like it's crazy.
That's the thing. I think people don't realize there are these like, you know, pan or special disability teams around, and how kind of open they are, and how like the leagues are kind of like more suited to people with special needs and disabilities. And you know, there's things that are put in place, like I think a team that one of my friends plays for, they have like a 3-second rule, I think, where like you can have more time.
Yeah, 3 second rule. Yeah,
And I just
know
think
about that.
yeah, it's just like it's a much more like accessible way of playing, and it's much more kind of fair, I think. And yeah, people just don't know that these teams exist, which is crazy. Let's talk about a documentary, because we haven't. So Isabel from the Met Film School contacted me to say that she's obviously like working on this documentary with you. Do you want to kind of fill me in about it?
Yeah, literally, it was just, you know what, it was a crazy idea that came to my head. It was like, you know what, because you sit there and you think, how can you promote things? And you know, and I watch a lot of them, like football ones, and I'm thinking, I've never seen a disability football team one, and I was like, and I was sort of right. I'm thinking we've won a lot of stuff, and we've gone through a lot. You know, it's been a crazy journey, and some of the players that we do have in our team are great role models, and people that are viewing that could like look up to. And it was like, I was like, I'm going to try this, and I sent emails everywhere, and I think out of the amount, only like 3 people replied. It was the Met Films. I forgot her name now, but she messaged me. She said, "Yeah, that's fine. If you could give me more information about the team and that." And then I sent a massive paragraph, and then I had one young person pop up to me, and it was just not for them really. And then I end up. Then I was like, yeah, I'm just going to keep waiting. The right person will come along, because after a while it gets like you start thinking, oh, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. And then and then Jacob popped up, who's the director now, and he told me his story, and it was inspiring because it's. I looked at his thing and I was like, you know what, I think me and him will get on really well because we've been through it, and he's a good guy, and yeah, and then he said it, and then we were talking through it, and then he said, what do you need, like, tell me some information, tell me what you want in it, sent all that, and then people were coming in, and then I done my first Zoom call with the producers and that. I'll be honest with you, I barely said a word because like, it was like sort of like explain a story and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, I was nervous as hell. It was my assistant was meant to come with me, join in with me, and my captain, but they was unavailable, and I was like, oh, I'm doing it by myself here. Okay. And yeah, and then I spoke to them about it, and then they were saying how they feel about it, which it was all positives, which that felt really good. And then we done a few more Zoom calls, to they sort of had like plans and ideas. Yeah, and then they started meeting the players, which that was, some of them were some of the Zoom calls were quite funny because my players, they just take the mick out of each other and they just rip each other. The banter is unbelievable. Even when I joined the Zoom call, they're like, wait, what's going on with your hair? And it was just like stuff like that. And I was like, oh, allow it. Like, and then since then we've just been promoting social media, and we've been having meetings with like ex-footballers. We've got a few others on the way to do, and then we've just been working hard really, but I don't want to give too much away because most of it will probably be in documentary. So yeah.
I realise that it's kind of still in a sort of planning production phase. Do you know-ish when it might be coming out?
I'll be honest with you, I have no clue. Because of COVID, no filming has actually been done yet. So, okay. So but we sort of know what we're working with and stuff like that. So, and obviously, because we're sort of going back into the past as well, because they'll have better perspective because of when it's going to be. They've got the better timeline for it, whereas me, I've got the timeline I've got is more football wise, like when we're allowed to compete again, and what like different criteria of obviously how COVID's affected people and stuff like that, and how just to make it safe when we start competing again, and different friendlies that people want to play against and stuff like that. That's what I've been doing. But like I know quite a lot about the documentary, but when it's coming out, I generally don't know. I don't think they know either. It just depends how quick we can get the filming going and stuff like that. But then you don't really want it to be rushed, to be honest, because if it's rushed, then it's just not, you're going to miss stuff and it's just not going to be as good. And, we want to get disability football out there. They feel the same as me. So there's we want to do it properly, and we want to make sure that we get the word out in the correct way and stuff like that.
Well, what I'll say in terms of like people listening is I'll put all the like links to the like Waltham Abbey Focus like social media, because I'm sure you'll be sharing more about like stuff that's going on there, and as and when like the documentary does happen, I'll try and put like new links out as well, so people can find it if they come back and listen to this podcast at all. So I'll make sure to like link like your Instagram and stuff like that. I've been seeing like the IGTVs you've been doing like with the like players and like the ex-footballers, which are really good on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, I'll put the link in the like little podcast description so people can go and follow you. But I think it's really great that you're like getting on your social media as a team, because I feel like a lot of football teams are a little bit behind in that respect, and they're a little bit kind of in the past in a way. They don't kind of use it as maybe they could.
Yeah, because most of the managers are old school, to be honest with you, like older. Like at the club, I'm the youngest manager. When I went national, I was the youngest manager. When we went league games and tournaments, I'm the youngest. I haven't seen one my age yet. So, because I'm young and I know about social media. I say that, but when I try and load things up, it takes me about 10 minutes to figure it out. But yeah, I get there eventually. But yeah, and obviously I always make sure the boys have a big input in what we do and stuff like that as well. And they're some of them are really good with social media. So they sort of tell me what needs to be done and stuff like that. So
okay, so you get a bit of coaching from them.
oh yeah, basically, yeah.
Works both ways.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good though. It's good that you're like, I don't know, involving them as well, and it's not just a kind of higher level thing where they can't get
involved. I let them do coaching as well. I let them coach sometimes. The C team at the moment, I've got a caretaker manager, which is actually a player who when we play 11 aside, I take him as one of my assistants and stuff like that because I want him to learn. One of my players is coach for girls team at the moment that started up ages ago. He's coach of that, and two of my players are assistants for that. So I'm just trying to, I'll be honest with you, I got very lucky. To be honest with you, what happened to me doesn't really happen to that many people. So I try and give that back and give people opportunities to coach and stuff like that because it is fun and you do gain a lot out of it, like experience wise, and you it's like it's so different from being a player and a manager. It's so different, and you learn that along the way. Even now, even like a couple of years down the line, I'm still learning different things from the differences.
That's great though, and the fact that you're not only coaching, you're like mentoring at the same time. And I don't know how you're doing all this because it seems like a lot to juggle all the time. Like,
yeah, it is. It is, and I work as well. So
I was going to ask.
Work as well. So yeah, I work in a kitchen at Wetherspoons. So, but the manager's really like nice. So he sort of like, if there's a game, I've always got it off. Like if there's training days, I've always got it off. And then whenever they're short on staff, I always come and help. So we help each other out the best that we can. Really, I don't really do that many hours at the moment. Well, none at the moment because of lockdown, obviously. But just before that, I wasn't doing that many hours. So
okay, yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot to like manage, and obviously, like you're doing all the football stuff like voluntary as well. So, like, I appreciate that there isn't any money coming in from that, but it's something that you're really like invested in personally, and it's so great that you're like giving back in that way, I think, and just being able to like train up other people. And it's so nice to be able to talk to someone at a high level and be like, how did you get here? How did you, how are you like managing a football team?
yeah, it's scary when you think about it. Before I took over the football team, like, I was going through some serious mental health. I lost, I was with my ex, and we split up, and I lost my job the same week. And no, a couple weeks later, and then I fell out of line with them because of the coaching and because of with my ex. I didn't read, so I sort of stopped talking to certain people, and then they weren't interested. And yeah, it was when I started taking football, we split up. I think it was like a week before my first tournament as a manager. Yeah, it was serious. Well, I went there. I was one thing that I do very well is I sort of keep it to one side how I feel, and then I try and motivate the boys. And some of what they've been through is worse than I have been. So I think of it like that. So when you go through a lot, and then it comes through the other side. And I'm just trying to prove that I'm not a bad person, and and I'm not what I was at school or college, and I'm grown up now, and I've sorted myself out. Even after the breakup, to be fair, I had my stubborn ways, and it was I don't want to get into that, but if you get what I'm saying, but like it was, I need to there's things I have to work on in myself, and I've worked on that, and it's a shame because now I know my potential, and I know what I'm doing now, and my head's screwed on. It's not spinning around like an owl anymore. So, but yeah.
I think that's maybe what not a lot of people appreciate about you being a football coach, is that you have got a personal life going on and you have your own struggles to deal with, as well as, working on top of that. Like, you've got a lot of things going on. And I think just to hear that you're only human and mental health and anxiety and stuff like that have affected you, and that kind of lived through it, and you've grown from these experiences, and you've stuck at football, and it's like a passion that you can really get behind. It shows like this huge amount of growth. And I think, just like you say, like having someone to look up to, maybe like an inspiration as a coach or manager, like I think that's really important, especially for like, younger teenagers, even just to see like your life path and see how you got to where you got now. It's good to see that.
Yeah, when I do lives, people always say to me, "Oh, what would you say to our people with special needs?" And I always say is, don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't do something. Because when I was at school, I got told I'll never get anywhere. I deserved it. I'm not my hands up. I'm not going to make them sound like a bad person, because I thought it was at one point, to be honest. But yeah, it was, honestly, don't let anyone tell you can't do something, because if you push yourself hard enough and motivate yourself hard enough, you can do whatever you ever want to do. I wanted to do the coaching. There was doubts and stuff like that from other people, and then yeah, I sort of shut that down straight away. When we went Portsmouth, they were like, "Are you going Portsmouth? That's well far." Like, and there's all lots of doubts and negativity about that. Shut that down. We ended up coming back with a trophy. So went national as well. Oh, that's a bit high level for you. Came back second best in the country. It doesn't matter what anyone says. If you motivate yourself to do something, you can do anything you want to. Don't let anyone tell you can't do something, because in reality, you don't know until you try, to be honest with you. And if you try hard enough, there's a big chance that you can fulfill it. And that's what happened to me, and it's happened to loads of other people as well.
I think that's really an important thing to say. And disability, any kind of learning disability or being neurodiverse, it shouldn't limit you. And don't take it from other people that they think it should limit you. For me, finding out I was autistic age 25, I might not have gone to uni and been in a football team and stuff like that if I'd known, because maybe I thought I wouldn't fit in and stuff like that. So actually, not having that label young, I just tried to push myself to do things. And even if I had that label, why the hell not? Can I do whatever I want and push myself to do the things that I'm really passionate about? And I think that's great that you're a spokesperson, an advocate for disability football, and just encouraging people to get involved with this is a really good thing. And I think the documentary will be great for that as well, just raising that awareness.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that a lot, to be honest, because I just want to give back, and like you said, and I just when you really want something to work, I've always had my fingers crossed, and yeah, it's just it's just crazy. And being the guy that does the speaking and the meetings and the talking, it's scary, it's nerve-wracking, but once you get your point across and people understand, it's a different story, because then you get more people on your side. And when you've got loads of people on your side supporting you and having your back, it grows you as a person, and it motivates you more. My brother has always helped me out as well. Like, he says things how it is, and he's much older than me, so I've always looked up to him. He covered once because my assistant couldn't come to cover the B team, so I covered the B team, he covered the A team, and they were so surprised how much we were alike. And he was like, "Yeah, because he takes my tactics, stuff like that," and stuff. So yeah,
excellent. That's so funny though. It's nice to get family involved. My dad used to be my football coach for a bit, the under 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s coach for a bit, and it was always weird having my dad coach me and my friends. But actually getting the more people involved and the more, I don't know, just more support as well. And I learned so much from my dad, just coaching and stuff. So that's great that you can get your brother involved.
Yeah, I was surprised myself, to be honest. He's well lazy, and he'll probably rip me for saying it, but in reality, we look at each other and we both know it. So, but yeah,
excellent.
He's good.
So you
But
mentioned
yeah.
before about like the kind of banter between you all as a team. How have like you and the players found the kind of UK lockdown? Because obviously you might not have been able to like train as much.
The first one was like really bad because it was a big shock. It's like, yeah, we got to stop playing now. It was
Yeah.
straight in. It was scary. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't really know about COVID, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone did. We didn't know what damage it done until the later stage where you see the amount of people that's unfortunately died from it, but and been really ill. And we were nervous. We didn't know what was going on, who if we got it or not. Because sometimes you've had it and you don't even know. I always just do Zoom calls and stuff like that, and and we'd have a chat and a laugh. Someone would like rip into each other and stuff like that, and and then the first one went over and we started like meeting up, stuff like that. So I trained again, and then they're doing good. Some have had the vaccine already, but it's just obviously it's hard to explain, but I try and give them that the mentality of if you just listen to the rules and stick to it, like it'll be over quicker than instead of you going out and breaking the rules, stuff like that. Not only going to get like a filthy fine, you're putting yourself and family at risk. So they've just been staying at home. To be fair, most of them ain't complaining, to be honest with you, because they don't have to work and they're getting paid to play PlayStation. Same as me, to be honest. But yeah, they're doing good. They're doing good. If there is issues or they're feeling low, they always just drop me a message and we have a chat and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great that you're like, in regular contact with them, and should they need to, like, you're only a message away. Like, I think that's really important to have, because you don't always want to talk to your family. Like sometimes it's nice to talk to people your own age.
Yeah, especially when they're not as well. I know about that. I've always done something wrong. National Dig Day most of the time, to be honest.
That's the thing. Like,
but then most times she is right.
It's good though. It's nice that like even just you're there for like a Zoom call or a chat, or like even just like little videos on social media, like just trying to keep up a presence. Like I get it's hard to feel like a team in this sort of like situation, but it sounds like you're like doing your best, and the fact that you're setting a standard for them and saying it is best to stay at home. It's difficult. We're all doing it together, but just the fact you're setting like someone to look up to, and you're doing it as well, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact I don't have to go work, because I usually do opens, so I see 6 in the morning. I've got to be here for 6 in the morning, and I'll be honest with you, I'm probably the most laziest person you could meet. So when I get up at 3, I feel fantastic. Do you know what I mean? So like one of them ones, and I love the fact I can lay down and relax and go on my laptop and stuff like that and play PlayStation and stuff like that, and I'm getting paid for it. That's that you have to see the funny side to it more than if you think about the negative side, then you have to be sitting there and just keep, and the thoughts be in your head really. So you sort of got to be, you just got to be positive, and people deal with it different ways. And mine's just like have the mindset of I'm playing PlayStation. Thank you very much. Instead of cooking burgers, I'm cooking burgers on Minecraft. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still technically doing my job, but on a game.
Mm-hmm. That's good though, that you're like you're grateful for the fact that you're safe, you're well, you're at least keeping busy and distracted and stuff. Like I think that's good. Like same for me. Like I appreciate that I can still do things within my home and stuff, and still speak to people on Zoom and things like that. Like it's important to be grateful for what you do have at the moment.
Yeah, and you just got to be positive, really. And you just got to think of the bright side. Think of it like this: like 29th, things starting to get lifted. Slowly 6 people can thing, and I've really planned out what I'm going to do for that. And 12th is when it's all based not back to normal, but like you can go back out and stuff like that, and meet your friends, and pubs are open. I've done well not to have a beer this long, to be honest with you. When you're a manager, you drink with the other managers, and because they're much older than me, they can do a whole barrel with me. I get like to a certain extent, and I'm like, yeah, I need to stop now, otherwise I'm crawling out the door. but yeah, it's good. and obviously we do stewarding at the club as well. So like, you know, we do that for free. Me and the players, like, you know, I'm like in charge of that as well, like stewarding, like who goes where and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's quite fun. We get beer out of it, so you know it's a win-win situation in my own, like, and obviously because obviously like I spend a lot of time with the first team as well. Like I'm allowed in their changing room, stuff like that, like before the game, stuff like that, and I just chill with them, and a lot of them like are very supportive and stuff like that. So, and obviously my favorite player in that team, he always talks to me and looks at our results and likes some comments on our Instagram. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. And it sounds like you guys are such a like close-knit team, but also like a really close-knit and like kind of family sort of club.
Yeah, no, it is. I got told that before I joined. They're like, he said that we're all one big family. And I said, you know what, we're like that in our team, you know. Like I was like, I think I was like 22 at the time. And obviously I was managing people that are like 25, 26. And, you know, it to me, that doesn't mean like nothing. Doesn't mean nothing.
It just shows that like your experience is, you know, the most important thing. It's not your age. Okay, I said you were young, which I'm 26, so you say you are young to me anyway. But it's your experience and things you've done in the past that have really kind of shaped you as a coach now. And I just think this documentary is going to be so interesting to like see like all this kind of background and like history and potentially like the club's future as well. That could be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's going to sort of explain a lot and it's going to show a lot, and obviously the chairman and secretary are all going to be in it as well. So they're going to be talking that, so it's going to be mental. So I'm looking forward to it.
So where can people like follow the Focus team online?
At the moment we're everywhere at the moment. Facebook, Insta is probably the most like popular one because obviously we use that quite a lot. TikTok now. We have Twitter, because I was on that the other day. Yeah, we're everywhere at the moment, and obviously we're sort of experimenting with certain ones to sort of see how it gets on, like promotion wise. So yeah, it's quite mental.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna have to have a look at your TikTok because I don't think I know any football teams with TikTok, like local teams. I think that's cool.
They're funny, to be honest with you, and I got done dirty. I got done dirty in a few of them. Like, you know, I looked at them and it's me. I was like, oh god, here we go. Believe it or not, taking the mick out of me is a great way to settle in. Like, I love it. You know, I can give it good and I can take it good. So, you know.
And I think it's great that you can have this banter and real like kind of good relationship with your players, and that it works both ways. You can relate to them in terms of like, you know, their age and background and stuff like that, but also they can like take the mick as well, which is always good fun.
Yeah. We'll see, we have rivalries as well, because obviously some are Tottenham fans, some are Arsenal, we have some that's Liverpool, we have a couple Millwall, we have a couple West Ham. You know, it can be quite crazy. So obviously I'm a Tottenham fan, and obviously Tottenham is doing great at the moment. So I tend to get it for that. So I'm probably gonna get it later because we're playing Crystal Palace about 7, I think. So I'll probably about to get ripped for that as well.
I remember being like that, like in our football team, because my dad supports Man City, and there just used to be so much like rivalry and so many texts between players when like you were going like down the league, like down the table, and like even today, like City are playing United, and my dad's like excited about it.
Well, it's today, isn't it?
Yeah. He's very excited. So it's good. It's good to be able to like chat to people about that and like take the mick when they're, you know, not doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal were doing really well at one point. I'm loving it. I was rubbing my hands. I was like, all right, because you know, my first team goalkeeper is a diehard Arsenal fan, and you know, you get a bite out of him when you throw a dig about Arsenal. It's like, yep, here we go, and then he goes, oh, you like won a trophy, and I'm like, yep. But look at where you're on. Yeah, it just goes on. It goes on.
Even just to do stuff like sweepstakes every now and then and stuff like, you know, or like fantasy football teams and stuff like that. It's always like fun to get involved in that sort of thing.
Yeah, we used to do that, but then obviously, even myself, we just forget to check it, stuff like that, and then we done it this season, and I'll be honest with you, I ain't checked it in about a few months, because I think I was like 12, like, yeah, I've had enough already. And then one of them ones, I thought, I got happy with the team I got, I was like, all right, you're not in trouble, I'm going to do well. And then, yeah, I'm 12. It happened to a lot of us, we were doing really bad. And then I looked the other day, for like the first time in months, and I was like, and I was like, oh my god. And then I looked at my team, and it's about 4 injuries, and some don't even play in the Premier League anymore. I was like, oh, fair enough, time to change it.
I guess like it's difficult to like keep on top of it as well. Like you've got to be so like on it with fantasy football teams, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you get injured so quick, and I'm like,
Especially when you have to do loads of things at once. You're like, and fantasy football team isn't like one of the things I check. Like, it's most times just emails and Instagram and stuff like that. Really, yeah, I'm not used to it because obviously before I done football, like obviously like, I knew a lot of people and stuff like that, and I had loads of friends and stuff like that. But like it's not like it is now. It's not. My phone goes off now. Like even when I first took over, it's like my phone goes crazy now. More people pop up, more people I speak to now. New faces come along, and people. We have a few people that actually support our team, and they're messaging me going, "Oh, when you lot are back and stuff like that," and it's crazy. I'm still getting used to it now, to be honest. I have to pinch myself and rub my eyes about 10 times. So,
do you find in terms of like your autism, like socially, do you feel like you've kind of grown a bit in terms of being able to like manage more like people time? Do you think, or is it not been an issue?
It's not really been an issue because I've always, from little, I've always like sort of in your face, hello, my name's Ben, who are you, and stuff like that. So, it's not really. It hasn't really affected me like that. Like, I mean, the workload of it has to a certain extent, but then because I'm so obsessed with it, and that's all I think about. I lay there at night and think, other than Minecraft, of course, and this new game called The Forest. I'm obsessed with that at the moment. But apart from that, it's like, what am I going to do now? What should I do next? And it's crazy, to be honest with you. I have to pick myself up after the Zoom call just to make sure. Do you know what I mean?
That's great though. It's good that you've got this, it's definitely one of your like main interests, and you're kind of working within it as well, and volunteering and giving back to the community at the end of the day. So I think it's great that you're doing something you enjoy.
Yeah, I've been told in the past that I've got so much potential to do good and be good and stuff like that, and I realised it too late, unfortunately. So now it's time. So I'm only 23 at the end of the day. So
yeah,
I've got more to get to, be honest with you. And I'm stubborn as well, so it'll probably longer than that, to be honest.
That's a good trait to have, though. If you're, you've got lots going on, and lots to like juggle at the same time, being able to like manage those things and kind of being set in your ways is a good thing, I think. But yeah, you've got literally so much to come like ahead of you, and this documentary is going to be really interesting to see kind of an overall feel for your team and club, and it'll be great to like hear from different people from all walks of life and from like all the different levels within the club. That'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that, at the end of the day, it's, it's good for me, it's good for the team, it's good for the club. But obviously, like, the main objective is to get disability people out there, so people that don't know about it, and people have like the wrong idea of disability football as well. People think it's just like severe disability when people think of football teams, but in reality, I've got players in my team, and there's other teams that have players that used to play academy level and stuff like that, and and we're actually like really, really good that can play mainstream football. Like, we've beaten mainstream teams before in the past. We've beaten teams without disability. Like, one of the games I was shocked about, even we were shocked. We were like, yeah. We went national. We played the Army veteran team. We were the first ever team to beat them. And that's how we got into the final. And I think our fatigue and that was what lost us the game. But I'll be honest with you, I almost cried when we beat them. We were the first ever team to beat them since they've started. And it was, and disability football ain't just like about severely, like disability people, like special needs. It's people that with special needs that have it, but people wouldn't think it. Like people say to me all the time, "Oh, you haven't got that, or you didn't got time." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did."
Exactly. Like you can't. Not every disability is visible. So things like autism and stuff. You do get those questions of like, "Oh, you don't seem autistic," which I've had before. I just really think that disability football is really inclusive, and there's it's very accepting of a wide range of different disabilities. So I really do hope people take that from this kind of podcast, that there are lots of local disability football groups, and it's definitely worth having a look into them.
Yeah, definitely. Like you don't know until you look at the end of the day. And most, like even just go to a training session, and all the managers that I've come across are all cool with it. I've done it a few times. People want to come and watch. I'm like, yeah, go for it. Just expect a lot of swearing, because some love to swear. So, if you don't like swearing, then I won't recommend. So, even me, like, I'm surprised I sworn you. I'm trying so hard not to. Like, it's just the way I talk, because obviously, it's just the way I am. So I'm just trying really hard not to. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm on my best behaviour today. I'll treat myself some cake after.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, even if you had sworn, I just have to mark the episode as explicit, but it's fine. At least you've got that filter of, oh, I'm about to, and you can kind of stop yourself. I guess that's good.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously there's been a few times where I have slipped up. When my students Zoom calls with the producers, I didn't used to swear at first at all, and then a few of them swore. I was like, right, this is it. I can swear now. And then a few of them swore, like, right, this is it. I can. The swear words are coming out, but obviously I try not to, stuff like that. I don't swear all the time, but sometimes it just comes natural. Like you say something and you just swear while you're saying it,
Yeah.
Can't yeah. And obviously, because my family are from Tottenham, they don't help either. So it's obviously, I don't sound like it, because obviously I got brought up in Cheshunt. So, but obviously, like if you heard how my mum, and my brother talk, it's completely, and my sister, it's completely different how I am. Even my nan's got more slang than me. That's embarrassing.
Oh, bless. Talking for all like over an hour now. It's gone so quick.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm surprised that I've spoke so much, to be honest with you. Obviously, like when I'm nervous now, I don't really talk that much, or I miss certain things out. So I try and make sure I say everything I can, because otherwise I'll be sitting there after, and I'll be like, oh God, I've forgotten to say this. That would make what I mean. Like that'd be good for it. So
yeah,
like I had to go speech therapy when I was younger as well for years. I couldn't talk. I had to stutter all the time.
Okay.
I think that was another thing as well. I couldn't talk. It took me years until I started talking properly. But I couldn't say cat. Like that's mad. Like imagine me saying cat in a hat. Like back in the day, I'd have to be like, yeah. I'd have to point at it. So.
Well, no, it's interesting. Like I had stuff like that as well when I was growing up. Like I couldn't brush my hair or brush my teeth because I had like real sensory issues. But now as an adult, it's something I can do. It's like crazy to think like, oh, I couldn't do something that was that simple. But now you look back and you're like, wow.
Yeah, I feel like as you get older, it sort of like not wears off, but like you sort of grow out of it a little bit. Like when I was younger, like if I was doing this years and years ago, you would have thought, who's this idiot? Because I would have said stupid things, and I probably would have sworn 100 times in the space of a sentence. But as you get older, you sort of things like that's like my autism as well, to be fair. As I've grown up, like it's got better and better and better. Like you sort of learn to maintain it, and obviously it just starts to go off after a while, to be honest with you. Obviously it's always there, but mine sort of kicks off more when I'm like with my emotions, like when I'm upset and stuff like that. Like I'm still learning now how to express it in a certain way.
That's the thing, you can't, it's not something that you're taught. It's sort of like manage yourself and your own emotions and stuff. But yeah, like you say, as you kind of grow up, you kind of, I don't know, not always grow out of it, but kind of get used to it.
It's been a big journey,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only 23 and I feel like 60, to be honest with you. Like, when you talk to an older person about everything from, I've done that already. Like, I'm like, cool, I'll catch up. I'm 23. Like, catch up.
It'd be interesting to I don't know, just see like, you know, in a few years' time where you are, what you're up to, how things have gone, because you can tell, like, you know, the way you're going and like everything you're doing, like you're making a difference. So I think hopefully that will have come across through this podcast.
Yeah, people ask me, oh, where do you be in 5 years' time? Well, I've been offered before to go elsewhere and manage other teams. I'm like, nah, like, I'm loyal to. I started this team up. It's very rare you start a team up, and you know, why would you go to another team when you can start a team that you started that has your system, your ways, you know, your friends and stuff like that. You know, I've been offered plenty of times, like loads and loads of times to go elsewhere. I'm like, nah, I'm all right. So when people ask me that, I just say I'll still hopefully be there. Like, you know, I'll still be there. I'll just be older and probably swear less and probably drink less. So yeah.
That's kind of what everyone wants to hear, like that you're loyal and that obviously like people, you know, really appreciate your experience if they're asking you to go to like other places. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like now's probably a good time to wrap up because we'll probably go on.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very easy to just chat to you, which is great in a podcast. But I will link down kind of in the description of the podcast all your social media and update it as well, like if and when the documentary kind of comes out. So yeah, thank you very much for being a guest today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and you know, you're now part of our journey. So hopefully you get to meet the players soon, or saying that, you know, on Zoom call, or saying like, you know, they'll be interested to meet you. So yeah, we'll sort something out.
Cool, sounds great. Okie dokie, I'm going to say thank you everyone for listening, and yeah, hopefully you'll hear another podcast episode soon.